In this video, we will be talking about the consolidated instructions or guidelines issued to banks by Reserve Bank of India. And for this, a master circular on housing finance have been issued on 1st of April 2022. So it consolidates all previous guidelines or circulars which are operative as on date. So one master circular has been issued. The date of issuance of circular is 1st April 2022. It has been issued under reference number DOR dot CRE dot REC dot number 06 by 08. Then there is dot 12.001 of 2022-23. So this is the reference. So in case uh, any one of you wants to refer to the circular, they may visit website of Reserve Bank of India, rbi.org.in, and master circulars are available at this site of Reserve Bank of India free of cost. There is no charges for that. So you can have access to the circular, read all operative guidelines till the date of issuance of this circular. So coming to the main features, that what are the various regulations and purpose for which the loan is allowed under housing finance. The first is acquisition of land. So bank finance can be granted only for purchase of a plot provided a declaration is obtained from the borrower that he intends to construct a house on the said plot with the help of bank finance or otherwise within such period which is prescribed by the banks themselves. So different banks have different schemes, but the main objective is that in case someone applies for a loan under this scheme for purchase of plot, so a declaration is to be obtained from that prospective borrower that he intends to construct a house on the said plot. Second purpose is construction of building or ready-built house. So individuals can be granted loans for purchase or construction of dwelling unit per family, and also loans for repairs to the damaged dwelling units of the families. Next point about construction of building loan is banks may extend finance to a person who already owns a house in town or village where he resides for buying construction a second house in the same or other town or village for the purpose of self occupation. Means the loan for second house is also allowed. Then banks may extend finance for purchase of a house by a borrower who proposes it to let it out on rental basis on account of his posting outside the headquarters or because he has been provided accommodation by his employer. Means the RBI has made it clear that for rental purposes there are two purposes only, that he is posted outside the headquarters or because he has been provided accommodation by the employer. So he can have loan for construction of a house for rental basis also, only on based on these conditions. Next is bank may extend finance to a person who proposes to buy an old house where he is presently residing as a tenant. Means the person is residing as a tenant in that house and he wants to buy that house, so bank may extend finance. Then banks may finance for construction meant for improving the conditions in slum areas, for which credit may be extended directly to the slum dwellers on the guarantee of the government, or indirectly to them through the state governments. So, even to slum dwellers, housing loan can be given, but provided the guarantee it is guaranteed by government, or indirectly to them through state governments, it can be given. Then again, banks may provide credit for slum improvement schemes to be implemented by slum clearance boards and other public agencies. Honorable High Court, Delhi High Court, has given some observations regarding housing finance, particularly on unauthorized construction, because Honorable Delhi High Court, they have observed that there are certain unauthorized constructions, so they have given certain guidelines, particularly for on unauthorized construction. That is, in case where the applicant owns a plot of land and approaches the bank for a credit facility for construction of a house, a copy of sanctioned plan by the competent authority in the name of a person applying for such credit facility must be obtained by banks before sanction of the home loan. Means a sanctioned plan by the competent authority in the name of person applying for such credit facility. It is must. Secondly, an affidavit must be obtained from the person applying for such credit facility that he shall not violate the sanctioned plan. Construction shall be strictly in terms of the plan, and it shall be the sole responsibility of the person who has executed this affidavit. And further observed in this only that he has the responsibility to obtain completion certificate within 3 months of completion of construction, failing which the bank shall have the power and authority to recall the entire loan with interest, costs, and other usual bank charges. So, an affidavit would be obtained that it will be constructed strictly as per sanction plan. One. Secondly, completion certificate shall be obtained within 3 months of the completion of construction. Next point is, an architect appointed by the bank must be must certify at various stages of construction of the building that the construction of the building is strictly as per sanctioned plan. Means this order, these directions or the observations given by Honorable Delhi High Court are especially on the unauthorized construction. So, the Honorable Court has directed the bank that an approved architect, you may say, appointed by the bank, means any approved architect, must certify at the various stages of the construction of building that the construction of the building is strictly as per sanctioned plan. Then it has been directed that in cases where the applicant approaches the bank for a credit facility to purchase a built-up house, it should be mandatory for him to declare by way of an affidavit that the built-up property has been constructed as per the sanction plan. Means for existing house also, an affidavit must be obtained from the borrower that the property has been constructed as per the sanction plan, and the building and or building bylaws as far as possible has a completion certificate also. Then they are told no loan should be given in respect of those properties which fall in the category of unauthorized colonies. Means for unauthorized colonies, no loan is allowed unless and until they have been regularized and development and other charges have been paid. And then last, no loan should be given in respect of properties meant for residential use but which the applicant intends to use for commercial purposes and declares so while applying for loan. Means in case the property is in residential area and it is meant for residential and it is meant for residential use as per the guidelines, but which the applicant intends to use for commercial purposes and declares so while applying for loan. So for that, in case he has the permission from the appropriate authority, means whatever is there, because some of the governments they are or you can say development authorities, they are permitting some professionals, or for some businesses they are permitting some particular percentage of the building for commercial use also. If the proper permission is there, then it's all right. Otherwise, no loan should be given without the proper permission for commercial use of residential properties. Then next point is for what are the purposes, because there are yes, very important is term loan to private builders. It's very important. So there are 4 5 points which Reserve Bank of India has given in the master circular. In view of the important role played by the professional builders as providers of construction services in the housing field, especially where land is acquired and developed by state housing boards and other public agencies, commercial banks may extend credit to private builders on commercial terms by way of loans linked to each specific project. So it can be a project finance also. But but the banks are not permitted to extend fund based or non fund based facilities to private builders for acquisition of land, even as part of a housing project. Means no loan can be granted to private builders for purchase of land or acquisition of land, even if it is a part of housing project. Then the period of credit for loans extended by banks to private builders may be decided by banks themselves based on their commercial judgment, subject to usual safeguards and after obtaining such security as the bank may deem appropriate. Then next point is such credit may be extended to builders of repute employing professionally qualified personnel. It should be ensured through close monitoring that no part of such funds is used for any speculation of in land. And last one, care should be taken to see that prices charged from the ultimate beneficiaries do not include any speculative element. That is, prices should be based on the document price of land, the actual cost of construction, and a reasonable profit margin. So means even there are guidelines relating to charging of prices also from ultimate beneficiaries, that those prices do not include the speculative element. So these are some of the instructions which have been given, and then risk weight is also provided, that it is also very important, and this ranges from 35% to you can say 50%, depending upon the category of loan, yeah, LTV ratio. So both things are there. So it depends upon that. Loans up to individual housing loans up to 30 lakh. So they if the LTV ratio is less than 80, risk weight is 35%. If the uh, this LTV is more than 80 but less than 90, then risk weight is 50%, because loan has become higher, being higher LTV. And about for loan about 30 lakh and up to 75 lakh, LTV less than 80, it is again risk with 35%. And above 75% lakh loans, if LTV is less than 75, then risk weight should be 50%. So these are some of the guidelines about housing loan. And rate of interest, banks should charge rate of interest uh, on housing finance granted by them in accordance with the provisions contained in Master Circular issued by Reserve Bank of India on interest rate of advances during 2016, as amended from time to time. So that is a Master Circular which was uh, issued in 2016, and it is Master Direction Reserve Bank of India interest rate on advances direction 2016. I think all important features have been covered. Yes, about priority sector lending, housing loans under priority sector. The grant of housing loan for the purpose of priority sector lending targets, including reporting requirements, which will be subject to the instructions on priority sector lending as amended from time to time. Because separate instructions are issued for on priority sector lending, so wherever the limits are covered under priority sector, so those loans would be covered under priority sector. So they have linked it directly to the instructions issued by Reserve Bank of India or the Government of India on priority sector lending. So the as per that scheme, wherever that loan comes, that will be categorized accordingly. So these are some of the guidelines issued under housing loan, housing finance, and these instructions have been given in the Master Circular issued on 1st of April 2022. Thanks for viewing this video, and friends, kindly subscribe and like this video. In case you really like, then definitely like it, and you please subscribe so that the link to the other videos being uploaded from time to time, it reaches you as a part of notification. Thank you very much.